Ha! Stinkfist by Tool. Yeah, this is from, I forget what the name of the album is. What is that album? Enema album. So, yeah, it's very cool. This is Mad God. You like Mad God? This is Mad God. So, this is Phil Tippett's opus. Phil Tippett, who did Star Wars. He did Star Wars. He did the walkers and all that. He did the creatures in Return of the Jedi. The robots in RoboCop 2. And right, so RoboCop 2, all that stuff. And it took him 30 years to make this. 30 years. So production. And it premiered at this was completed in 2021. And it was released in the United States around 2022. Critical acclaim. So welcome back to Goth-Metal Lore. I am your host, Maestro Drake, and I really wanted to show you this last night, but I couldn't because I couldn't finish watching the movie because it kept buffering like fuck. So that's fucked up. That's butt fucked up. And I couldn't do this review. So now I'm doing this review on a Sunday, which is an unusual night for Goth-Metal Lore. So that's why it took a day late, because I couldn't get things to work. So this is from the wiki. While working on RoboCop 2, Tippett began filming what would become Mad God. His work on Jurassic Park led him to believe the days of stop motion were over, and the film was shelved. Oh, that sucks. So 20 years later, with the encouragement of members of his studio, Tippett began working on the project again, utilizing crews of volunteers to assist him. So on the weekends, I would get as many as 15 to 20 people coming around. They didn't have all the talent and skill, but I figured out the process during the week. I had them do all the heavy lifting. I'm trying to remember what his voice. With aid from Kickstarter donations, that's what George Lucas should have fucking done. Instead of going to Disney, he should have gotten Kickstarter. But Kickstarter wasn't around, I think, until after the acquisition. But he still should have done some sort of funding. I mean, you think if George Lucas wanted to make 7, 8, and 9, do you think the fans would have done it? I think they would have. I really think they would have. I really think so. Tippett created the first 3 sections, which make up about half the film. So there's 6. He released a behind-the-scenes footage on YouTube during production. Oh, I can't wait for that. I got to watch that at a separate time. 2013 Academy Award-winning sound designer Richard Beggs agreed to do the project's sound design and mixing. VR short. In 2016, a 2-minute short VR version of the movie was released. All characters were animated and shot separately in front of a green screen using Dragon software. Then Nuke was used to compose all the characters together in front of a background. So, interesting shit. I don't know how you're going to find that. So Dan Wool worked on the project. There's a lot of stuff. Let me tell you, this is, and I'm going to say this now, okay? This is the best animated movie you'll ever watch, okay? Because it combines a little bit of live action, a little bit of stop motion, a little bit of puppetry, but mostly stop motion. If it were me, I would do a little bit of everything that you can possibly do. Like with live animating, you can get away with some puppetry, maybe flip a character around, toss a character in live action, but all the arms and legs and facial expressions, you can either do that in stop motion or puppetry. Getting characters to fly around, that's a little bit of stop motion. Who knows what Phil Tippett would have done with the battle droids in the prequels? I don't know. I do think there's room for everything. I think for like, well, I think back to Jim Henson. Jim Henson would have combined everything. I think Jim Henson would have tried to play both sides, like Phil Tippett and the Disney executives say, well, we can all work together. That's the way Jim Henson was. Okay, he wanted to be the guy to break bread and try to get everybody to get along. And I think we would have seen more stop motion projects at an affordable price if Jim Henson was still alive. But we have his son, and they still have the Creature Workshop over there. Where's that Slippy Muppet? So, Mad God is Goth-Metal lore because you have death, you have destruction, you have a fantasy world. Now, let me see if I can. What I can ascertain is that it's a post-apocalyptic world, right? So you have the post-apocalypse, and you have soldiers in there. A tall figure shrouded in a jacket and gas mask. So that's the guy you see there, credited as the assassin, descends into a ruined, hellish world, and he has a map and a suitcase. And in that suitcase is a bomb that goes off, but it never does go off the first time. The second time it does. So there's different creatures. Let me read you the plot to this, and I'll describe what I felt when I'm looking at it. Traveling through the underworld, he encounters many creatures mercilessly preyed upon by large monsters. There are so many creatures. There are so many creatures that fit within Goth-Metal lore. Apparently ruled by a monstrosity with filthy teeth and seared flesh that only speaks in baby babble. Okay, so there's a baby that looks like a worm with human teeth sticking out of it. It's like it's like a slug the size of a cat, and it has baby teeth and shit. So it sounds like or human teeth, but it sounds like a baby. Deep within the city's bowels, the assassin discovers a mountain of suitcases just like his own. He opens his suitcase, revealing a time bomb, which he places and prepares to set off. It never goes off, by the way. A creeping monster attacks him. It doesn't complete the circuit. So that's the scary part, is that the bomb does not complete its circuit. That's scarier than cutting the red wire, the blue wire in all the live action movies. Like, which one do I cut? You go, oh, 1 second, 1 second, 1 second left, right? But the bomb never goes off in the first 20 to 30 minutes of this movie. For first 20 minutes, I think. And so we go to other places. The surgeon bores a hole in the assassin's head and connects his brain to a television set, and he watches the world above. And at some point, we see the surgeons, and the surgeons are in live action, and there's a priest, some sort of priest or scientist. Looks like looks like a humble old man. Kind of like, I don't know, who's the first person I could think of? Humble old characters. There's different ones, but maybe like John McCain, right? John McCain, the who was running for president, kind of looks like that with glasses, and he's the guy that sends all the soldiers in there down the hole. So they're going down this, like, imagine this little line, okay? They're going on this elevator. They're going down, 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 down through the depths. You're looking at everything. There's so much to see. So there's like very little live action, but it's mostly on the creatures and the puppetry and all that stuff, all the stop motion. So let's see. The last man gives a map forged by gnarled witches to an assassin and sends him. Hold on. We lose the image. We cannot lose image. There's the image. Mad God. So he gives a map forged by gnarled witches to an assassin and sends him down in a diving bell. Driving a motorcycle, then a jeep, the assassin follows the map through a munitions depot, graveyard, and a war zone before descending a spiral roadway. Back in the underworld, the nurse brings the infant to a ghostly floating creature. So there's a creature, and then it's in a box with mechanical hands sticking out of it. Transforms its remains into gold. The gold is then used to create a new cosmos. So the infant it's crying like a human baby, but then it looks like shit. It looks like a sandworm. It's crushed into liquid, and then it makes this beautiful city. And it kind of looks like those four. I don't know if it's in about New Jersey or New York. You know, the projects, those four similar looking apartment complexes. They're all like four squares, four buildings that look exactly the same. I forgot what they're called. And so they have these city hall. They have this beautiful part of the movie that looks really good. And you got people tagging the walls. You've got this almost live action looking beautiful photogenic place. But what happens is, uh, which undergoes the same cycle of evolution, civilization and self destruction as the previous one. In doing so, the clock in the assassin's bomb appears to somehow restart and complete its circuit. So it blows everything up and then everything's undone. So it's an amazing movie. This is a movie that I think I can stomach it. I don't know if anybody else can, but I can stomach it. It's really good. I mean, Phil Tippett's really, he's fucking talented. The only problem is that, you know, he's put to bed by a lot of CGI workshops, a lot of CGI people, ILM. You go back to Coraline, you go back to The Nightmare Before Christmas. This is better than that. I mean, you have to interpret the movie your own way. But Mad God is really, really good. The best animated movie, I think, ever, because you're getting into it. It's better than Coraline. Coraline had a uniformity to it. Nightmare Before Christmas had a uniformity to it, but it had a specific style that's not for everyone. This one really reaches out to all the young adults. And so for that, I'm going to give this one, I shall give it an A. And on top of that, I'll give it a bonus star. I'll give it a bonus superstar. So there you go. There's my score for that. Not exactly an S. I don't know why I would have an S ranking for this, but there you go. That's my score for that. Check it out if you can, if you have an opportunity, and there'll be more movies to review later on for Goth Metal Lore. Keep on rocking the goth and the metal and the lore, and I'll see you next time.